A warm welcome to session 12 as we continue in the discussion on matters self-awareness and, of course, emotional intelligence. I'm Charity Kirigo Kagwaine. Always a great joy to be part of this online community. In this session 12, I will have 4 subsections because I want us to look at the different blends of the 4 temperaments. When the 4 temperaments blend, we end up with 12 different sets of temperaments. This is because, as I said in session 7, each person has a primary temperament and a secondary temperament. And for some people, they even have 2 secondary temperaments. So you will find, for example, somebody is a male, but is also has, traits of, say, a sanguine. So over the next, 4 sessions, I will look at the 12 blends of the temperaments that we have been looking at. It's also important to note that in every blend, the degree of variation is, different in each blend. For example, you will have somebody who is a sanguine and a male, and one person will have 60% sanguine and 40% male, while another person is still a sanguine male, but there will be 80%, sanguine and 20% male. Those 2 people will be very, very different people. They will have some similarities, but all together they will be very distinct human beings. So in this session 12A, I look at the sanguine blends. The sanguine blends, one is the sanguine choleric blend. This is the strongest extrovert that exists on the planet Earth. It's a sanguine who is extroverted and a choleric who is also extroverted. So this is the strongest of all the extrovert personalities. This person talks too much. The vibrant sanguine and the choleric who must be heard, so they talk too much. They often make a very good first impression because, they present themselves as very good people. But because their conversations are centered on their egos, after they have talked too much and they have said too much, they end up missing the first impression that they brought out to everyone else. And when they sense that people are resisting them, remember we mentioned this in the sanguine. When they sense that there is, resentment, or people are resisting them, or they feel threatened, or they feel insecure, they can actually become very obnoxious. They can become very obsessive. These are the kind of people who will do things and you wonder, how can that person go to that extreme? They become extra possessive. So if you know somebody, a family friend, a spouse, a colleague who is extremely possessive, that is probably a blend of sanguine and choleric. This person has very serious issues with anger. They, at the slightest provocation, they can spark, and really not just spark, like it's anger that, is almost uncontrollable. And they can end up doing something that is very, very extreme. Because for them, they need to be seen and they need to be heard. And if they're not being seen and they're not being heard, then that will provoke them to just react. Work-wise, the sanguine choleric blend is very good in, of course, sales because of the sanguine aspect. And they also make very good sales managers, sales directors, because of the leadership aspect that comes in from the choleric. So they have a combination of enthusiasm and leadership, which is good when it is harnessed. If they are well trained and motivated, they become very, very successful financially. The second blend of the sanguine is the sanguine melancholic blend. Highly emotional person. 1 minute they are hysterical, they are on top of the world. And then the next minute they are in tears and in mourning and in wailing, crying. Emotional extremes. They will be on the happy side on one moment, and they will be on the extreme side of sadness. So their emotions sometimes can be very, just extreme. They genuinely feel, this person genuinely feels the pains of others. They are great sympathizers. Remember, we talked that the sanguine, is a people person. They will feel everybody. The male is a person who, cares for the people. So they sympathize. This person will sympathize a lot. In fact, people tend to take advantage of the sanguine male blend because they sympathize and over-sympathize. Sometimes they actually overdo it. When it comes to work, this person should work where it is, people-related work setup. Because the sanguine loves the people and the male is a person who cares for the people. So if you are employing, put them somewhere, they will work with people. It will balance out the sanguine who doesn't really like to work because they're always on the go, and the male who is a little bit more settled. That will blend out, and that will bring the balance when it comes to managing people and working with people. The only other shortcoming and great weakness the sanguine male has is that they suffer insecurity. The sanguine, if they are not liked by people, they feel very insecure. The male is always an insecure person. They are always second-guessing themselves. So when it's a blend of the sanguine male, this person tends to suffer high levels of insecurity. And so they need a lot of assurance. The third blend of the sanguine is a sanguine phlegmatic blend. This is probably the easiest person to like. They are the happy-go-lucky, person with a carefree spirit and a good sense of humor. They will lavish their family and their friends with love. Remember, the sanguine is a person who loves people. And I say the phlegmatic, when they love deeply. So when it's a combination of the sanguine phlegmatic, they will lavish those that they just decide to love. They will lavish them with love, and they will just go all the way. And they will stop at nothing. They will give everything for love. The only flip side of the sanguine phlegmatic is they lack motivation and self-discipline. The sanguine who never finishes, their task because they are always talking. The phlegmatic who is not always very, very motivated. So they lack motivation and self-discipline. And this is because they tend to take life too casually. They are not very serious people. The sanguine is not a very serious person. The phlegmatic is a carefree kind of person. So they take this blend ends up, being a person who takes life too casually, and more often than not, they are not very, very productive. So, what's your blend? Is it the sanguine male? Is it a sanguine choleric? Or is it the sanguine phlegmatic?